Okay. Now, to start out, I'm going to start out with Chapter 3, Body Image and Eating Disorders. So, when it comes to body image, it's essentially a multidimensional construct or the mental picture that we have for our own bodies in our mind of what is to be perfect or what is to be the ideal body image for self-worth. But it's really not the case, though. But body image issues can lead to eating disorders such as anorexia. And anorexia is essentially the absence of eating or extreme calorie deficit to where your body starts wasting away and getting really skinny. And that's just one of the eating disorders. And I remember seeing people back in my old high school where they were just so preoccupied with their body image that they develop eating disorders, and then that caused them to have to go to the hospital to be treated and then put into the mental hospital as well to help treat the disordered eating and also the disordered mental image of their body. Which leads me on to the next chapter, chapter 4, weight management. So with weight management, we have something called a body mass index, which is where you take one's weight in kilograms and divide it by the square of one's height, and that's how you get a body mass index for numbers, and it can either be a healthy or unhealthy body weight based on that BMI. And then I want to talk about creeping obesity, where creeping obesity is when over time your metabolism starts to drop and the same amount of calories that you were able to eat and still maintain your weight has now started causing you to gain weight. And it's also kind of seen where we say the freshman 15, where it happened to me as well. When I went from high school to college, I ended up gaining a lot of weight because of a lifestyle change and also because I was eating less healthy stuff as well. Which allows me to move on to the next chapter, chapter 5, cardiovascular fitness. Now, with cardiovascular fitness, it's to essentially assess how much your heart is able to pump blood efficiently and to get oxygen throughout your entire body. And with cardiovascular fitness, you want to be able to perform optimally with what you have without running out of breath. And that leads me to cardiac output, which is basically the total volume of blood in the heart that pumps per minute, and is typically measured in liters, and it's a vital indicator of cardiovascular health, and it ensures adequate oxygen delivery to tissues. And then that leads me to maximal oxygen consumption, which is the highest rate in which your body can take in, transport, and utilize oxygen during intense exercise, acting as a premier indicator of cardiovascular fitness. Now, an example for this is for me personally. I have something called thalassemia minor, which is where my red blood cells are way smaller than they're supposed to be. And that affects my ability to carry oxygen well throughout my entire body. So my maximal oxygen consumption would be way less than someone else who did not have the disease like I did. Which, moving on to the next chapter, muscular fitness, chapter 6. With muscular fitness, it is important to have muscular strength training in your regimen because it helps shape your body, boost fat-burning metabolisms, assists in building strong bodies and bones, reduces risk of neuromuscular injury, and enhances functional capacity. Now, when it comes to shaping the body, you can either have hypertrophy or atrophy. Hypertrophy basically means that your muscle is extremely enlarged or really big. Atrophy basically means the muscle is wasting away. Now, for me, I have a personal example where my grandmother went from being averagely muscular to being completely atrophied when she had a stroke and was bedridden for some years until she passed away. Now, when it comes to muscle building, it helps with the bones specifically because it prevents osteoporosis because the blood is going into the bones, it's getting a lot of nutrients, and the bone matrix is getting strong where the gaps are being filled up. And that's how you prevent osteoporosis with muscle training. But it's not always a guaranteed way to prevent osteoporosis because age is still a factor in that. And now moving on to chapter 7, flexibility. When it comes to flexibility, there's a lot of benefits for it, where it includes, where there's a lot of benefits for it that help you with day-to-day activities. And then there's a lot of factors that affect flexibility, such as anatomical structure of tissues, age, gender, temperature, and physical activity. Now, when it comes to the structures, there are many parts of the structure that it can affect, such as hinge joints, ball and socket joints, as well as ligaments and tendons, because ligaments and tendons, unlike muscles, cannot stretch. So whatever weight is on them, they're not stretching. So when you're actually stretching, you're not lengthening the tendons or muscles. You're actually decreasing the edge of the stretch, or the muscle spindles located in the muscles, and the Golgi tendons that are located in the tendons. And because of these responses, they let you know when you've stretched too much or you've not stretched enough. Essentially, yeah.